When we think of birds and their abundance of adaptations, there is one that always comes to the fore: flight. Most birds share this ability, the ability to take to the sky, distinguishing them from almost the entirety of all other vertebrate life. Flying, in its many forms, is the primary method by which most birds navigate the skies, allowing these species to find new mates, avoid predators both from above and below, and to find new sources of food. Flight is clearly one of the most important adaptations birds have for competing in the great stadium of life. In spite of these benefits, some species have evolved to a life where they do not take flight. They live a flightless life. The most famous of these flightless birds are the spheniciforms, the penguins. These aquatic birds are found almost exclusively in the southern hemisphere, especially in and around Antarctica. Given as how so many birds do fly, why then does this highly successful order not take flight, as other birds so readily do, and how did this strategy for living come about for them? What led to the evolution of flightlessness? To answer this question, we must first travel back and look at the earliest penguins and their nearest relatives. In the early Cenozoic era, following the collapse of the dinosaurs as the dominant life form on Earth, there were a multitude of opportunities for other species to adapt to and to exploit. These early penguin species included albatross-like seabirds, to whom ancestral penguins were related, and from whom modern-day penguins evolved. These early penguin species found themselves in seas largely devoid of competition, with very few predators. It was this mix of opportunities that allowed these species to drop flight altogether. The Waimanu species, of where is now the South Island of New Zealand, were the first of the albatross-like birds to reach this critical stage of penguin evolution, and are thus regarded as the first of the penguins. This fact leads to somewhat of a revelation when considering the evolution of flightlessness amongst penguins. That is, penguins didn't lose flight, they were never able to. The fossil evidence for penguin evolution is far stronger than for their aerial counterparts, for two reasons. Firstly, these ancient penguins were all seabirds, so when they died and their bodies settled on a beach or in the water, ocean sediment quickly covered their carcasses. Secondly, early on in penguin evolution, their bones greatly thickened and became very dense, which improved their ability to dive and chase underwater prey. In contrast to the fragile bones of aerial birds, which break down very easily, these robust bones are far more likely to become fossilised. Whilst penguins cannot fly, in the aerial sense, that's not to say they don't fly, they just happen to fly underwater. Many have noted the similarities between how birds fly and how penguins move underwater. Dr. Paul Ponganis of the Scripps Institute of Oceanography even goes as far as saying that penguins are as well designed for underwater flight as birds are for flying in the air. This, however, doesn't do penguins their fullest of justices. A penguin's wing stroke is, in fact, even more efficient. Penguins are able to exert propulsion on both the up and downstroke of their wings, unlike most other birds, which are only able to do so on the downstroke. This is not the only behaviour penguins have adopted to their underwater flying. Like the buzzards and hawks of the sky, as well as the albatrosses to whom they are so related, penguins are actually able to glide underwater to conserve energy, especially during their deepest of dives. Another vital feature of penguins' underwater flight is their solid bones. Unlike their airborne relatives, who have hollow bones, penguins have lost this air-filled space, making it far easier for them to plumb the depths. Penguins are well known for their fusiform or torpedo-like body shape, which allows them to slice through the water, just as this same body shape allows aerial birds to cut through the sky. While swimming, penguins often tuck their head down into their shoulders, thus reducing any drag and keeping their streamlined body shape. Some penguins are known to spend up to 75% of their adult lives at sea, often for periods of months at a time, so these adaptations are imperative for surviving where they spend the majority of their lives. In spite of all this, there are circumstances where penguins do take to the sky, in a manner. Despite it being more efficient for penguins to swim underwater, rather than at the surface, they must come to the surface to breathe, as all aquatic mammals must. Many species of penguins thus use a behaviour known as porpoising to overcome this dilemma. They glide towards the surface and leap out of the water, breathing as they do so, thus enabling them to maintain their forward motion whilst also allowing them to breathe. And so, whilst penguins can't fly in the air, we shouldn't feel sorry for them. They don't need to fly, and once they hit the water, they are able to outperform all other aquatic birds, and can fly as well as the best of their aerial relatives.